doing is we're getting back on our live cast schedule. We're going over a couple frequently asked questions, and we're getting ready to do in February, which is the Second Brain Symposium. What is the second brain? That's your stomach. And you have all these neurotransmitters that fire and stuff in your stomach. And we're going to do a 5-day challenge on it. We're going to talk about diarrhea and constipation, acid reflux, silent reflux, why when you have big decisions in front of you, when so many people say, hey, I'm just going with my gut, why there's a physiologic explanation for the neurotransmitters firing in your stomach. So you guys, we haven't had a live since December 11th, a couple weeks off, and now we're back. And we're going to talk about immune system health today and viral recovery programs. And we're also going to talk about some home treatments about skin conditions and acne. That was a question that I got asked. And also about Epstein-Barr virus and Epstein-Barr load. I have a question from one of my patients from California that's going over that. But it's just nice to be back into the swing of things. See you later, 2020. Now we're in 2021, and we're going to make it the best year ever. So if you're just joining us, it's the Dr. West live program every Thursday, 5 o'clock Mountain Time on our Facebook and our YouTube channels. And we're just getting things kicked off. We have developed the Energy Sucker Report that's going to be available next week. I was trying to get it live, ready to go for this, and I'm like, you know what, it's just tough. And I wanted to get it edited and proofread. I'm having this experience where I swear everything is right, it's perfect, it's looking really good, and then I turn it over to my wife or to one of my team members, and they're like, hey, did you see how many typos you had? So I didn't dare release it. But this time next week, you guys make sure that you get on your calendar the Energy Sucker Report. Why? When you're not feeling right, you lose energy. Arthritis is a factor. Stomach problems are a factor. Chronic infection, Epstein-Barr, Lyme disease, staph, strep. Like, why do they take so much energy? And that's really why people get sick, is because they run out of energy. So we have that report coming up that we're giving out next week, and then the 5-day symposium. So happy to be back in the swing of things. The Dr. Jason West live at 5. And anyway, what a great 2021 we're going to have put together, because we're working on your neurotransmitter pathways. We're going to be talking about the neat things to get your stomach put back together, like glutamine is literally a cellular regenerator. It's an amino acid. So if you're having some leaky gut and malabsorption syndromes, check out glutamine. That's one of the hacks. And then we did in our private group, our Healthness to Wellness group last night, we talked about the many benefits of apple cider vinegar. So for a recap, apple cider vinegar has got to be one of the neatest, inexpensive, fabulous ways to help people to get better, because the many benefits of it helps for metabolism, it helps for blood sugar. By the way, we have done a 4-video report on this and some feedback for you guys. If you want the link to this report, this video series, please just comment apple cider vinegar in the comment line. And I got to get you some information. This year is all about helping my patients and our community and whoever sees this video to get healthy, so that we can get back to some sense of normalcy. So apple cider vinegar helps to break things down. It's really good for restless leg syndrome. And for my patient that asked about acne, they said, hey, Dr. West, what would you do for acne? So let's just start off with that and kind of go through your skin health, because you know what, your skin is kind of like your stomach. The things that you see coming out through the skin, whether it's eczema or dermatitis or rashes or acne, like it's an external manifestation of an internal problem. And what does that mean? That means that what is happening on your inside, if you clog up your phase 1, phase 2 detox pathways, the body can't get rid of things. So what does it try and do? The biggest organ in the body, it tries to push it out through the skin. And so that's why skin health is so, so important. And so we're excited to share some ideas about that. But apple cider vinegar helps to break stuff down in your stomach. The protocol that I give people, I mean, this is gold. People, listen, it's 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar and a half a glass of water after meals. And the vinegar that I like, and I have no vested interest in that, it's Bragg's apple cider vinegar. You want it to be a little bit clouder. You don't want the clear stuff. It doesn't work as well as the cloudy apple cider vinegar. You use it to helps to break food down, restless leg syndrome, metabolism. It's one of the weight loss secrets. 2 tablespoons of apple cider vinegar after you eat things. It really helps to break the food down. Now, I'm a little bit hesitant to take it on an empty stomach, because if you got acid in your stomach and then you drop in apple cider vinegar, what happens? You got too much acid. So I just want everybody to be aware of the apple cider vinegar component. Fantastic way to be healthy. Now, that being said, I gave you the protocol, restless leg syndrome, weight loss. For anybody New Year's resolutions, here's the secrets to weight loss in my 20 years of clinical experience. 1, it's really what you're putting into your system. It's so much more important than your exercise and your movement patterns. And yes, exercise is important, but it's so important what's putting in. And I love the intermittent fasting protocol, where you're basically not eating for 16 hours, then you eat for 8 hours, a 16-8 protocol. Shout outs to Dr. Jason Fung and the Complete Guide to Intermittent Fasting. He also wrote a book that I read last year called The Obesity Code. That guy really has it dialed in. Hats off to him. What an amazing healthcare provider and healer. And so intermittent fasting, apple cider vinegar. Now, let's talk more about skin. Some really important things about that. This is specifically talking about acne, but you guys, if you have any skin conditions, there's a couple important things to do. 1, your essential fatty acid pathways. Because if you have essential fatty acids in your system, not only does it lubricate your mucous membranes and your GI tract, the other thing that it does is it helps your skin to be healthy, and then when you're exposed to sunlight, it converts the essential fatty acids from, basically the 7-dehydrocholesterol, it converts it into cholecalciferol. So essential fatty acids to vitamin D3, that's what cholecalciferol is. And vitamin D is so important for immune system health, and guess what? It's so critical for your respiratory pathways. Upper respiratory health is directly affected by vitamin D in my experience. And again, people that want to be as healthy as possible going into winter, into the flu season, and avoiding viral infections, get your vitamin D levels up. Personally, what I'm doing is about 10,000 units of vitamin D every day, and I've seen some really good outcomes of people increasing that if they're showing symptoms of upper respiratory distress or some type of infection. Goes up for a week or so, and then they're ready to go. So essential fatty acids also protect the red blood cell membrane. Remember, red blood cells are like trucks on the freeway. They take supplies from town to town. They pick up stuff in the stomach, the nutrients. They also get oxygen from the lungs. They take it to the organs and tissues, and then they bring it back from the organs and tissues. I like to recommend for myself and for my family about 4,000 to 5,000 milligrams of essential fatty acids, omega-3s, 6s, 7s and 9s, Got a little bit of a dry throat there. Okay, so that being said, we have a question here.
Jessica O'Neill asks, Dr. West, how do you feel about castor oil packs?
Jessica O'Neill, thanks for asking me the question. You said, what about castor oil packs? And my response is, it's one of the best things that you can do to help to basically soften hardened tissue. I'm a big fan. I think they're great. Castor oil is one of those things, all this new stuff that's coming out, sometimes we get about the old stuff like a silver proteinate solution for eye problems. They call it Argerol. Nebatol for warts and moles and stuff like that, some old school healing stuff, and castor oil packs. Jessica, they're really, really helpful. I see good outcomes with them. A big fan. Yes, you should use those. The downside is like negligible. The other thing that we wanted to talk about is a question from Brent. Hey, what should we do about acne and oxidative medicine or ozone therapy? What would you do? Well, you guys, if you've been watching this, you know that oxygen is so important for health. And when you boil down exercise and everything else, look, this is what's happening. If you have enough oxygen in your system, when your body, in your cells, organs, and tissues start to use glucose, which is the energy molecule, if there's enough oxygen in the system, the byproducts are carbon dioxide and water. If you run out of oxygen, and it cannot be the final electron acceptor in the electron transport chain, which gobbledygook means, if you don't have oxygen there, what happens is you get pyruvate and lactic acid. That's why you get sore muscles. And so Brent was asking me, well, what do you do about acne and ozone? If we get extra oxygen in the body, it stimulates the immune system, it gets rid of acid. It's really healthy if used the right way. And I would be drinking about 8 ounces of ozonated water. I also think that rectal insufflation with ozone is so powerful. It's so easy. It's kind of socially awkward to talk about. No one wants to say, hey, you kind of get an oxygen/ozone enema. But the colon is the third lung, and what happens is if you get oxygen and ozone into that colon, what happens is it permeates the whole body, and it's good for so many conditions. I've seen it help with psoriasis. I've seen it help with urticaria. I've seen it help with eczema. I've seen it help with acne. So drinking ozonated water, about 8 ounces a day, and also doing some rectal insufflation therapy. But here's some of the other really neat hacks or things to do with acne. One is the healthier that you're putting foods into your system, the healthier that your skin's going to be. And so for that reason, I tell people to be really careful with fast food, with fried food, with chocolate. And then when you have kids that are going through the hormone system, what happens is they're producing excessive oils in the skin. It has a tendency to get infected, and it can be around cycle time for girls. It can be, these flare-ups for boys. And what you want to do, healthy food as possible. We've talked about this in the Hellness to Wellness Challenge, how to make healthy blood. Remember this axiom. The axiom is that your blood is healthy, then you are healthy. And so one of the things that we'd use for that is refined plant blood, which is your fat-soluble vitamins of vitamins A, vitamin D, vitamin K. When you take that, what it does is it's like a plant blood transfusion. It's chlorophyll. Now, chlorophyll is what allows plants to convert sunlight to energy. And when we take it into the body, the only difference between chlorophyll, which is plant blood, and human blood basically is a magnesium center. So we get the magnesium benefit from taking the chlorophyll. It drops off. We start using it in coenzyme pathways. We put an iron molecule on the side. It's almost like getting a plant blood transfusion. Looks like we have another question.
Okay, Shannon Green Shrum asks, where do you find ozonated water?
Okay, hi Shannon. So specific to your question, there's a couple things. One, because you're inside of our clinic system, I will give you ozonated water on our next visit. But one of the easiest ways to do it is to get an ozone machine to have at home. I think that this is a critical investment for people. This is one of the reasons why when we started in our live programs last year, we talked about having a home ozone machine. Caden, will you put this in the comments? It's westclinicteam.com. That's the website that you go to if you want a home ozone machine. I'll help you to do that. If you have access to a home ozone machine, fantastic. Just use it. And Shannon, make sure that you talk to us when you come in the office. I will help you get some ozonated water. You guys, it doesn't taste that great, but I'll tell you this. It is so good for you, and it helps so many stomach conditions. It helps you to detox. I see a lot of benefit for brain fog and mental concentration and mental stamina for that. So when we, going back and looking at our acne protocol, healthy and alive food, get your body on a schedule. Chlorophyll, which is your fat-soluble vitamin complex, is really healthy. There's also something called Zymex, which is a really good way to help decrease candida and fungal infections in my clinical experience, and then also vitamin D. So Brendan, answer to your question, ozonated water, really good. Insufflation therapy. We're going to do a program this year. Matter of fact, I'm going to write it down right here. Here's on my sheet here, insufflation training, because you guys, this is one of the best things that you can do for health. So we're going to put that on the docket. I'm actually going to we have a calendar system of the trainings that we're going to do. And again, stomach health coming up, a 5-day program coming up in February. The other question that I got asked about from Elizabeth is the questions about the Epstein-Barr virus. Now, this notorious little bugger it literally, I think about just about everybody's been exposed to this. It's a casual contact virus. So saliva, eating off someone's fork, drinking off someone's straw, they call it the kissing disease. It happens a lot in high school. Epstein-Barr, transmitted by saliva. What it does, it can cause some mild asymptomatic stuff and some horrible healthcare concerns. And you know what the difference is? It's the same thing from the virus that's coming from China. If your immune system is working well, the cell-mediated immunity for your immune system is working well, in your thymus gland, which is right here, and your spleen, which is down here, two of the most neglected glands in traditional medicine, then you are going to be healthy and you're going to modulate this Epstein-Barr problem. Now, chronic viral infections can lead to neurobehavior, neurodegenerative, psychiatric, autoimmune, and fatiguing illness. And I quote that directly from one of my favorite papers from the British Journal of Medical Practitioners that says, look, life is about your immune system. And honestly, you guys, that's where we're living right now. Life is about your immune system. The things that you can do to help your immune system is going to make you healthier. And we've talked about this for 8 months now. What is the viral protocol? Vitamin A, this is what I do for myself. Vitamin A, 10,000 units. Vitamin D3, 10,000 units. Vitamin C, about 5,000 milligrams. 30 to 50 milligrams of zinc is kind of what the protocol that I'm doing so that I don't get sick. It's what I'm recommending for my kids. And then I've added to that something to protect the cells. Now, we mentioned a little bit in the podcast, it's essential fatty acids. That helps to contribute to the phospholipid bilayer around cells. It's the cell skin, or it's the skin of basically the organs, tissues, and cells. If that's healthy, it's hard for bad guys to get in. Essential fatty acids, omega-3, 6s, 7s, and 9s. So your small, medium, and long-chain essential fatty acids are so good for that. So healthy fats. Fats are not a bad food. This is so frustrating when people come in and they're like, I don't feel very good, and I'm really careful what I eat. I'm not eating sugar. I'm like, that's great. And then they're like, and I don't eat any fats. I have low fats. I'm like, that's really good marketing, but really bad for health. You want healthy fats. So bad fats, I agree, anything solid at room temperature is kind of the rule that's not so good for you. But you gotta have fats to protect your brain, to protect your nervous system, and to insulate the cells. If you don't have fats, you guys, it's kind of like the Tin Man on The Wizard of Oz. Like you're out of oil and it doesn't work. So another question from my producer here, Caden.
Okay, Sherry Hall asks, what is the best product for essential fatty acids?
Okay, hey Sherry Hall, my friend from the South. Luckily, she doesn't call me a Yankee when we talk, even though she talks a little bit weird and I'm talking a little bit normal. And of course, Sherry, I'm teasing you about that. The best source of essential fatty acids, and I'll get Caden to put this in the comments, my experience is it's Ultimate Omega. Now, the reason why I picked that product, and I've come across a lot of essential fatty acids, and you guys, there's a really good essential fatty acids out there, but you need to combine them. So my frustrations when people say, hey, I'm taking a fish oil. Well, that's not enough. You need to have fish oil. You need to have flaxseed oil, some DHEA, some EPA, some evening primrose oil. Like if you have a combination oil product, it is so good for your body. And it's like lubricating rusty joints. It protects the brain. And also, here's the other thing. You guys, with fats, you have to have a fat molecule, cholesterol, to make a chemical messenger so the organs can talk to each other. This is an essential part of being healthy. What that means is you have to have 2x4s, plywood and sheetrock to create a house. Like you can't just create it from wallpaper or cardboard. And so the body's no different. What the backbone of the body is it's fats and cholesterol. Cholesterol too much causes disease, it's bad. Cholesterol too little causes disease, it's bad. And so cholesterol helps your body to make chemical messengers that talk to each other, also known as hormones. So Sherry Hall, in answer to your question, Ultimate Omega from POTC. It's Professional OTC, Organs, Tissues, and Cells. It's a company that I'm involved in, and I think it's a fantastic product. I'll post it in the comments of this live after, but if you don't have access to it, like, it's so important, just get a combination of small, medium, and long-chain fatty acids. By the way, that's going to help lubricate the skin. It's going to help protect the brain. It's going to help protect the mucous membranes. The other question that we were going through before Caden said, hey, jump over on this question, is Epstein-Barr's questions for Elizabeth. She was saying, hey, what's the difference between a viral load and an antigen? And what I was trying to write to her, was hard to communicate, is this. If your immune system is struggling with a viral load, or it's creating antibodies, it means that we've got a chronic viral infection going on, which is sucking energy out of the body. And again, next week in our live, we're going to talk about the energy sucker report, because this is the reason why people get sick. If you have adequate energy, the chances are of having fibromyalgia or headaches or arthritis or Lyme disease or struggling with a metabolic disorder are really not that high. Like, if you can keep your energy levels up, your body processes things. And this happens all the time with spouses. They'll come in and one spouse will be there, they'll be really sick, and the other spouse is kind of sitting there saying, well, what's their problem? Like, how come they just don't toughen up and go through it? Part of that is genetics, because some people are made out of super glue and some people are made out of Elmer's glue. And so that's part of the equation. But the other part of it is the spouse that's not sick is better utilizing energy than the spouse that feels sick and run down. And part of that is oxygen, part of that is genetics, part of that is food intake, part of that is absorption. And so it's so important to recognize energy levels. Going back to Elizabeth's question with Epstein-Barr levels, if your cell-mediated immunity, so there's two parts of your immune system, the parts of your immune system that fight bacteria outside of the cell, we call that humoral immunity. The body that has inside of the cell, we call that cell-mediated immunity, which is where the viruses and a lot of different types of metabolic disorders, one of them being cancer, is if your immune system, your natural killer cells, works, then what happens is you can fight off the virus. Now, with that being said, when she was saying, hey, what's the difference between viral load and in basically your Epstein-Barr levels, is if they're there, it means that we're having a chronic infection that's affecting the nerves, the energy levels. It can fake autoimmune problems. And the answer, or the pathway to try and help people like that, is get your immune system working, really work on your energy levels, and stimulate your thymus gland, which is right here, and your spleen, which are so important for your immune system health. So that being said, with a bunch of stuff happening, looks like we've got another question. Lindsay Calypso, what's the best way to get rid of leftover sinus crap? What is the best way for sinus health? Okay, so Lindsay, that question is this. Number one, I really think vitamin A lubricates the mucous membranes. The other thing, I like ozone in the sinuses. There's a specific way to do it. Again, this is why I recommend people have a home ozone unit. And what that is there is a way to get ozone into the sinuses. You do not want to breathe it in the lungs, because it'll cause your lungs to spasm and they won't feel very good. And so, but if you can keep it in the sinuses, it really, really helps your overall health. And so I'm really excited to tell you that. The other thing is vitamin P. Now, I was getting asked by the patient in the office the other day, and they're like, hey, Dr. West, you talk about vitamins that I've never heard about. Vitamin F, vitamin G, vitamin P, vitamin T. And I said, well, those are the things that my great-grandfather taught my grandfather taught my dad taught me. They're so important for making everything work. Vitamin P, also known as rutin factor, is so critical for vitamin C pathway, and it helps with capillary integrity. What does that mean? It helps the mucous membranes of the body. It helps the immune system. The best natural source of this, at least that I've been able to discover so far, is beet leaf greens, not the beets. So the beets are really, really good for your heart. The greens are really, really good for your immune system. Ozone in the sinuses, I would consider doing a neti pot rinse. And another one, Lindsay, is a herb called fenugreek. Fenugreek really helps to lubricate mucous membranes. My friend from the Midwest, Barbara Bach. Hi, Barbara. How much vitamin A, D, Z, zinc, EFA for recovering from coronavirus? Increase from prevention amounts, or you just mentioned. Okay, so if I had the bug from China, how I would be trying to recover from that, Barbara, I would be doing for me about 20,000 units of vitamin A, 20 to 30,000 of vitamin D. I'd do this for about 3 weeks. 50 milligrams of zinc, and I would be hammering essential fatty acids, 6 to 8,000 milligrams. I would be doing that, and also wanting to make sure that you're moving, get your body on a schedule. That's what I'm recommending. I have so many people that are coming into the office and contacting me online and saying, look, I had the coronavirus in July or September, and I'm just not recovering from it very well. And so that's the protocol, getting everything balanced. I've seen some really good results from acupuncture. Eric Westman says, is there only a vitamin D only product? So typically there's a lot of vitamin D, vitamin K on the market. There is vitamin D products solely. You can get that on the personalizedotc.com website. That's a company that I'm involved with. There is vitamin D only, and I think it's just fine to do that. Matter of fact, if you're on a blood thinner program, you might want to stay away from the vitamin K and just do vitamin D only. And but vitamin D, it's my second favorite vitamin. Now I say every vitamin's my favorite. Vitamin C is my favorite one. Vitamin D, vitamin E, vitamin A, they're all important. They're all my favorites. So that's you guys kind of where we're at on the program. This is like getting back into the swing of things. We took a little bit of time off in December because we were doing a 5-day challenge called Healthness to Wellness, having people, instead of living down here, we want them to live up there. We created a really special group inside that Healthness to Wellness protocol, which we're going to be posting inside this comment and on our West Clinic page, because we have a community that put together where we're really doing some neat stuff on Wednesdays. It's an invitation only. It's a closed group. We did our first one last night about apple cider vinegar and how we can use that for metabolism, for blood sugar, for health and stuff like that. And then next week, the Energy Sucker Report. Because if you're not feeling very good, it's because we are getting, energy is going out somewhere. It's somewhere out of the system, it's leaching out, and that's how we are putting everything together. You guys, this is 2021, it's going to be great. We're going to help people to get things balanced with emotions, with physiology, with biochemistry, with biomechanics, when you get everything lined up. And this is so fascinating. When people come into the office, my number one goal is to say, look, it's all about balance. So if you get balanced, so many things are good, and that's so important. A lot of it comes from here. And so that's why we always talk about getting your body on a schedule and getting healthy foods and basically getting the right rest, have a sleeping sanctuary, and then putting parameters around relationships. So toxic relationships, I don't have all the answers for those, but I will tell you this, is if you have stand up and live yourself for you. And what I mean by that is, like, it's difficult. We all have some type of relationships in our life that probably aren't that great for us. If we define what those are and live our lives for us, there's some really good healing that comes with that. Now, Melissa Stalker, can I have an invite to the private group? Yes, I will come and pick this up. Of course, we want people to be involved in the Healthness to Wellness group. And also a big shout out to Robert Harmon and his better half, Julie. I sure love you guys over there in Wyoming. And we're going to help people to get inside of the group. We did that in December. No problem, you guys, don't worry about it. We have some really great things. Energy Sucker Report next week. And then it's the second Brain Summit or Symposium that's coming up in February, where we're just going to hammer everything we know about stomachs inside of a 5-day challenge. So I've got a workbook that I've written together. It's getting proofread right now that we send to you that you can download. This is exactly what we did in December. And we're going to talk about how you can help with the stomach, diarrhea, constipation, essential fatty acids breakdown and absorption, malabsorption syndrome, leaky gut syndrome, ulcerative colitis. I mean, the whole works on the stomach. Almost all of my patients have stomach problems to some regard, and this is what we're going to hammer in February. Now, we're back on our schedule with our Thursday Night Lives inside the West Clinic system. I'm excited I got some guests planned out this year. It's going to be awesome. Let's make it a great year. I'll see you guys next week. We'll see you guys later. Dr. Jason West and the West Clinic team.